You are technically 10,000 years old, which means you have been angry for longer than human civilization has existed. Your back hurts. You are a transhuman demigod of war. Your skeleton is reinforced with adamantium. Your muscles are as dense as industrial concrete, and you can spit acidic venom. And yet, somehow, your lower lumbar region throbs constantly. You blame the spikes. You wear ancient Terminator armor covered in chains, skulls, and completely unnecessary spikes. Getting through a standard Imperial doorway is not a casual movement. It is a tactical siege operation that usually involves removing the doorframe with a melta charge. You haven't taken a proper shower since the 31st millennium. You smell like ozone, dried blood, and the bitter, suffocating scent of cosmic failure. You remember when things were nice. You remember when you were a Son of Horus. Your armor was a pristine sea green, a color that screamed, "I am a majestic savior of humanity," and not, "I am going to turn your ribcage into a wind chime." Your Primarch, Horus, was the absolute best. He was charismatic, he was a tactical genius, he had a perfectly smooth, bald head, and a smile that made you want to conquer stars for him. You stood beside the Emperor at the Ulanor Triumph. It was a golden age. You had a dental plan. You had respect. Then Horus went to a swamp planet, got stabbed by a very unsanitary sword, started listening to a guy named Erebus, who is objectively the worst person in the galaxy, and suddenly decided his father, the Emperor, was a terrible boss who needed to be violently evicted from the universe. The Horus heresy happens. It is a very confusing time for you. You spend 7 years shooting your beloved cousins in the face because Horus says they are holding back your true potential. It all culminates at the Siege of Terra. It is the greatest battle in history. It is also a massive, unbelievable logistical nightmare. You are standing outside the Imperial Palace waiting for the World Eaters to breach the Eternity Gate, but the World Eaters are busy trying to punch the concept of gravity. Meanwhile, the Emperor teleports onto Horus's ship and literally deletes Horus's soul from the universe. Just like that. The War Master is dead. You are suddenly unemployed. You run. Everyone runs. You flee into the Eye of Terror. The Eye of Terror is a tear in reality where the warp bleeds into real space. It is a terrible place to live. The rent is cheap, but the weather forecast is usually raining blood with a chance of sentient existential dread. Gravity operates on a bribe system, and the sky is the color of a migraine. You try to make a cup of recaf in the morning. The recaf turns into a sentient sludge, recites a poem about your inevitable doom, and crawls into the ventilation shaft. You are forced to drink Promethium engine fuel just to stay awake. Your leader is now Ezekiel Abaddon. He was Horus's first captain. He has a topknot that boldly defies physics and a very, very bad temper. He gathers the shattered remnants of your legion together and tells you that you are no longer the Sons of Horus. You are the Black Legion. He makes you paint your armor black. You spend 3 weeks scrubbing beautiful sea green paint off your ceramite with a wire brush and the tears of slaves. It is very degrading. Abaddon has a vision. He calls it the Long War. He says you are not going to be slaves to the Chaos Gods. You are going to use them. This is like saying you are not going to be a slave to a hurricane. You are just going to use it to blow dry your hair. It is arrogant, it is incredibly stupid, and you are 100% on board, because the alternative is admitting you ruined your entire life for absolutely nothing. The Black Legion is supposed to be the unified, professional military force of chaos. You are the sane ones. This is a terrifying thought. You are the middle management of the apocalypse. You are constantly surrounded by the other Traitor Legions, and they are awful coworkers. Your current strike force includes Bob, a World Eater Khorne berserker who communicates exclusively in screams and chain axe revs. There is Malachor, a Death Guard plague marine who smells like a blocked sewer in a leprosy ward and constantly tries to hug you to share the grandfather's gifts. There is Xylar, an Emperor's Children noise marine who plays a guitar made out of screaming human vocal cords at 3 in the morning. And finally, there is a Thousand Suns sorcerer who is literally just a pile of magical dust inside a suit of armor. He is terrible at conversation, and whenever he sneezes, the local gravity inverses. You miss the Great Crusade. You just want to conquer a planet in silence.
The logistics of chaos are infuriating.
You try to organize a simple raid on an Imperial armory. You need bolter rounds. You go to the Dark Mechanicum. They are corrupted tech priests who put demons into toaster ovens. You ask for 10,000 rounds of standard explosive mass reactive ammunition. The tech priest hands you a box of bullets that cry when you touch them and turn into angry flesh-eating moths when fired. You ask why. The tech priest says, Tzeentch willed it. You sigh heavily. During the raid, you shoot a loyalist space marine with an angry moth. The moth eats his helmet, which is surprisingly effective, but it severely lacks the professional satisfaction of a good explosion. Your body is changing too. Chaos rewards you with gifts. You were hoping for wings, or maybe a flaming sword. Instead, you grow a small fleshy tentacle out of your left shoulder. It doesn't do anything useful like hold a gun or strangle an enemy. It just sporadically gives you a thumbs up. It is incredibly patronizing. Then there are the Black Crusades. Abaddon calls a massive meeting. Millions of cultists, demons, and traitor marines gather in a fleet that blots out the stars. He points at the Cadian gate, the one stable route out of the Eye of Terror. He says, this time, we will break them. You charge at Cadia. You fight the Imperial Guard. The Imperial Guard are regular humans. They have cardboard armor and laser rifles that are essentially heavy-duty flashlights. You are an 8-foot-tall monster of genetically engineered hatred infused with the dark powers of the warp. You charge a trench. A terrified 19-year-old named Kevin from an agri-world shoots you in the eye with a Lascannon. You die. You wake up 3 centuries later in a cloning vat on a demon world because a sorcerer needed someone to carry his luggage and remembered your gene seed sequence. You check the galactic scoreboard. The Black Crusade failed. Abaddon calls it a tactical probing action aimed at weakening the pylons. You call it getting humiliated by Kevin. This happens 12 times. 12 Black Crusades. 12 times you march out, scream about the dark gods, and get hit in the face by a flying brick of Imperial artillery. It is becoming embarrassing. You are starting to feel like the cartoon villain in a children's show. You show up, you monologue about the Corpse Emperor, the Imperial Guard led by Ursarkar Creed hide a titan behind a very small rock, they shoot you, you go home. But then comes the 13th Black Crusade. Things are different. Abaddon is not messing around. He has a black stone fortress. It is an ancient alien space station the size of a moon that shoots lasers that delete planets. You are excited. You feel the old spark, the old glory. You drop onto Cadia. The fighting is apocalyptic. The sky is burning. Demons are tearing apart Titan war machines. You rip a space wolf's arms off and beat him to death with them. You feel like a champion. You feel the gods watching you. You are favored. But the loyalists just will not give up. The planet is cracking, the pylons are failing, and they are still holding the line. Cadia stands, they scream. It is very annoying. Abaddon gets frustrated. He realizes he cannot win the ground war. So he takes the Blackstone Fortress, which has just been severely crippled by an Imperial suicide run, and he throws it at the planet. He just throws it. It is the biggest table flip in galactic history. Cadia breaks. The planet physically shatters before the Imperial Guard surrender. You watch from your extraction Thunderhawk as the world cracks in half. The Great Rift opens, tearing the galaxy in two. It is a victory. It is the greatest victory Chaos has ever had. You won. The long war finally has a massive payoff. 10 years later, you are on a devastated world in the Imperium Nihilus, the dark half of the galaxy. You are fighting again. You are always fighting. You look around. The galaxy is broken. Demons pour from the sky. The warp corrupts everything it touches. You are slaughtering a local planetary defense force. They are screaming. They are begging the Emperor to save them. You cut them down. It is easy. It is too easy. There is no glory in it. You sit on a pile of rubble. You look at your hands. Your gauntlets are permanently fused to your flesh. You haven't taken your armor off in 4,000 years. You don't even remember what your original face looked like. You think it had a nose, but now you just have a Vox grill that constantly tastes like pennies and 3 glowing red eyes. A drop pod slams into the ground near you. It is blue, Ultramarines, but they are bigger. They are Primaris Space Marines. The Emperor's new toys, whipped up by a tech priest who actually understands science instead of just burning incense at a carburetor. A Primaris lieutenant steps out. He is pristine. He has perfectly proportional armor. He does not have a single skull chained to his belt. He doesn't have an elbow ear. He looks at you. He doesn't look angry. He looks disgusted. He looks at you the way a janitor looks at a very stubborn, very gross stain. You stand up. You rev your chainsword, which is currently sputtering because the teeth are clogged with cheap PDF flak armor. You scream, "Death to the false emperor!" It is your catchphrase. You have said it millions of times, but today your throat is dry. The words sound hollow. You charge. The Primaris Marine doesn't even monologue. He doesn't scream a battle cry. He raises a bolt rifle. It is a very nice bolt rifle. It is incredibly well maintained. It hasn't been subjected to warp rust or demon moths. He shoots you. A perfectly calculated 3-round burst, center mass. Your ancient, corrupted Terminator armor, which has survived orbital bombardments, demon claws, the vacuum of space, and 12 failed crusades, finally gives out. The bolts detonate inside your chest. Your fused ribcage shatters. Your secondary heart turns to a bloody paste. You fall backward. You hit the mud. The mud is cold. You look up at the sky. It is a swirling vortex of purple and red warp energy. It is screaming. It is always screaming. The Primaris Marine walks over to you. He points his pistol at your head. You want to say something defiant. You want to curse him in the name of the dark gods. You want to tell him about the Long War, about the brotherhood of the Black Legion, about the truth of the universe. But as you lie there, bleeding out black, toxic blood, you realize the ultimate, tragic punchline of your 10,000-year existence. You rebelled against the Emperor because you didn't want to be a tool. You didn't want to be a biological weapon discarded when the Great Crusade was over. You wanted freedom. You look at the swirling warp above you. You feel the dark gods watching. Khorne doesn't care that you fought well, only that you are bleeding. Tzeentch already planned for you to die here just to move a pawn 3 sectors away. Nurgle is just waiting for you to rot so he can grow a mushroom on your corpse. Slaanesh is completely bored of you. Abaddon told you that you were brothers forged in shame. But you look around and realize there are no brothers here, just a billion angry sociopaths waiting to stab each other in the back for a slightly sharper chainsword. You didn't find freedom. You just found a management structure that doesn't offer dental, hates you personally, and pays you in useless mutations. You traded a golden, glowing tyrant for 4 screaming toddlers who live in a metaphysical basement. The Primaris Marine pulls the trigger. The warp swallows what is left of your soul. And worst of all, you know that tomorrow, some Black Legion sorcerer is going to summon your spirit and shove it into the exhaust pipe of a defiler engine, so you can spend the next millennium being utilized as a demonic spark plug. Because in the Black Legion, not even death gets you out of the Long War.